Well, thank you so much for joining us today. We're just coming off of Web Summit a couple of weeks ago, and the next person that we have with us is Mike Knapp. Mike, I have known for a very long time. He is a coach and a guide to CEOs and leadership who are really looking to get clear on what they want this business to be so that they can love it again. Um, I think one of the other things that I have come to know Mike for is his superpower of connecting people. Apart from just being a brilliant connector of ideas, he's also incredibly good at connecting people. So if you're ever looking for somebody to kind of understand what is happening in the Vancouver or across Canada market, connect with really amazing business owners and leaders, he's the person. And probably because you've helped so many people that are in that space. I know, Mike, that you were at Web Summit a couple of weeks ago, and I know that there was a lot of interesting new pieces that were kind of coming to light, especially down in the area where everybody's showcasing their new applications and business models that they were coming up with. So I would love to hear from you. Coming out of Web Summit, was there anything within there that you thought, this is what I'm hoping to get out of this experience before you went in?
So I went in not really knowing what to expect with Web Summit. It was my first time. And I've been to a lot of other conferences, but in some ways it almost more reminded me of Comic-Con or some giant really hardcore trade show like a Buildex or something like that. Um there were so many people there, and there were so many people showing so many great things that they're working on. It was exciting to the point of almost overwhelming at times. But the beauty with that event is everybody was there to talk to you. So you could stop by any booth and have a conversation about one of 400 or 500 startups that it felt like were there, and learned somebody else's perspective on the future and why they believe their product or their idea is so important. So that was amazing. There's so much opportunity to connect brilliant minds.
Mhm.
Did you
I
love there?
I think something that I found incredible about that, just downstairs, there's 500 different booths and they changed every day. You're talking 1,500 different applications that are new to the market on AI and tech. It was a lot to take in. It was felt like a little bit of a fire hose where it kicked to that too,
Yeah.
but it was very cool to get to just see all of those products.
Mm.
I think one of the aha moments for me was, there's a lot of conversation about change. We have to get used to change. We need to exercise their change muscle. There was all of that kind of context talking about it. But I think one of the pieces that was kind of, I don't know, I think most of what I took away from was what was maybe a bit missing from the conference, which is maybe more about like get into the tactical and practical parts of, well, then how are we going to figure that out? How are we going to deal with the change? How are we going to get on with it instead of just, it's coming, it's coming. So I think that was a bit of an aha.
That was I sat through maybe a half dozen to a dozen of the sessions. The sessions were designed around 23 minutes or so. I found that because they were so short, there wasn't technical depth in any of them. It was a bunch of thought leader headlines, and then I'm like, it's over. So same as you. It's like if you're going in there to learn about what's next in AI, you get some ideas, but nothing on directing you on how to really get started on it, which was a little bit disappointing.
Yeah. Was there anything during it, either in the different products that were being showcased downstairs or in any of the discussions that were happening on the panel stage? Was there anything in there or a couple things in there that you thought, like, oh, wow, I wasn't expecting that, or that was really surprising to me?
I have to admit, I've been nerding out with AI significantly in the last several months. So it there wasn't a lot of surprises from the speakers and the technology. I liked seeing the wide variety of applications. Both some were absolutely amazing, and some I was like, really, you're applying AI to that?
Mhm.
Um, but to be able to go and see what some of the things that were possible.
Mhm.
It was great to have make.com there going and showing how to roll out agents incredibly quickly. Um, Company groups like KPMG and whatnot, it's being there for an awareness standpoint, showing off how they can help mid-sized businesses and larger with their AI practices. So there wasn't a specific thing as much as the overall energy and buzz was so amazing. Um, but I said there were a few moments, but I think there's going to be that in any event like that.
Yeah, absolutely. Was there anything in there that you thought, this is missing from this? Like, this is something we should be talking about, and it's not really being showcased here. Or we're talking about it, but we're really not getting into it in the kind of highlight way that we should be focused on it.
There were two things. Um, One is that AI is absolutely amazing and brilliant, and it was being touted as a great way to get rid of all your processes and whatnot, your manual processes, and automate and make things better and smarter. And never did I see anyone talk about the fact that we don't want to use AI to remove human genius. So AI is a thinking partner. If you're it is a accelerator. It is something to get rid of the menial so that you can have people doing what people are great at
Mhm,
and focus on extending their brilliance using AI.
mhm.
When I'm working with my clients, AI is now something that we're talking at the strategic level in every single business. And, and so often do I see them going and saying, well, I just had AI do it. Well, guess what? That's not what AI is there for.
Mm.
AI is there, a great thinking partner, but you can't replace your own thinking or you're no longer valuable. So I would
Yeah.
love to have seen a keynote level presentation on the impact or how people should be leading AI and
Mhm.
what is that overall direction from a people standpoint, not from a technology standpoint.
Yeah, I think that that was definitely a part of the missed conversation. I think there's so many pieces around AI and people's fear of using it and introducing it into organizations because of what it could mean if we're not using it in the most effective way, which is human led, and we're using it in a way where we're just dependent on it. I think there's so many pieces that are kind of big, scary gaps about how it's going to impact the human side of new people coming into the employment market or students that are graduating. Like, where's their entry level position if AI bots can handle most of that for us? There's just so many questions about, well, how do humans fit into this as opposed to how does AI fit into our business?
And those are the really interesting conversations. You and I could probably spend the next 2 hours just talking about that alone.
Yeah.
You know, we have to be clear. And it was Web Summit made this super clear. 75% of Web Summit was on AI. AI is the future. It is the next electricity that has to be integrated in every business. So we have to start rethinking those businesses, both from an AI strategy and how you're going to not be left behind, from a people strategy and how you're going to maintain and gather the greatest people and elevate them in a world where the menial is being managed by agentic AI.
Mhm. Yeah. In terms of your own work, Mike, like what are some tools that you're using on the AI side that you're like, this is great. This is taking away something that I never liked doing, and now I don't have to do it anymore. Or it takes at least a part of it away from me. What are some of the tools that you've been really loving lately?
So honestly, I'm just using GPT.
Right.
And so I've about 6 months ago, I made the decision that especially as a business coach, AI is if we're not aligned with it, it's replacing us. So I turned around and said, no, I'm going to optimize my business around AI, not in the background, right up front and center with the clients. So when I'm doing planning sessions, ChatGPT is up on the wall, on the screen. And it's absolutely astounding how when we focus on the human genius and let it do the work behind the scenes,
Mhm.
how much more momentum we build inside businesses. It does not replace us, but it
Mhm.
shows us blind spots.
Yeah.
It, it synthesizes our work so much faster than I can.
Yes. Yes.
We'll go through and we'll brainstorm an entire wall. And then I'll go in and tell my AI has a name. I'll go tell Quinn, Hey, we just finished this exercise. Here's the flip charts. Click, 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 click. Can you assemble them and synthesize it for us?
Mhm.
And it goes and it analyzes the whole thing, and the team on the spot can go, yeah, those conclusions were right. Oh no, oh, we didn't think about that.
Mhm.
And then have deeper conversations on the spot. So it becomes this amazing genius thinking partner. And it's after a couple of months of playing with and testing with clients, my entire practice has started to shift around that.
Very cool.
So it in my mind, it is a game changer, and it should be for every business. Doesn't
Mhm.
replace the human, shouldn't replace the human.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it should accelerate everything.
Mhm. And the work that you're doing on a coaching side, I know you recently wrote an article that was really focused on, what is AI's role in the coaching space?
Mhm.
Can you tell us a little bit about kind of what you've seen coming on the coaching side, on that service area, and how you think AI might impact it, apart from just augmenting it?
So I read an article 3, 4 months ago. I can't remember from where that talked about um, it was they were doing a satisfaction and a survey of people using um, AI as a therapist.
Mm.
And while they are processing their issues, most people are feeling more lonely after using AI as a
Mm.
therapist. And that had me thinking, what is it that as a coach is different with us than it could be with AI? Because AI will find the blind spots. I did a coaching session with my own AI yesterday. It was amazing for some things, dumb as a stick for others, but we won't go there. But in the end, there's this human superpower that's missing. AI does not connect with people. AI only provides some logic.
Mhm.
Even over Zoom, we are connected,
Mm.
and a safe space is created. And there's somebody listening to you, not just replying to.
Mm.
And that safety and that connection is something as humans we crave. And great coaching, great therapy, great whatever. It's part of it's about creating that,
Mhm.
and then asking the right question at the right time instead of just, quite frankly, unloading. Here's the next step question. Here's the next step question. Here's the next step question,
Yeah.
or simply holding the silence.
Mhm.
You know, the new advanced chat feature in ChatGPT is amazing. I don't know if you played with it yet. I have complete conversations, and it sounds like a human. It's acting like a human. It's also acting ADHD, and it won't shut up. And whereas when I'm working with my peer coach, there are times where she just sits there and looks at me and says, "And now what?"
Mm. Yeah.
That difference is huge.
Mhm. And I think there's a part with AI, it can read the text and it can read the facial expression or the formatting or these kinds of things, but it can't read the moment. It can't really read what the vibe is. It can't read
Mhm.
body language in that kind of way or the facial expression in response to something, which is just so different from even a text-based conversation between two actual humans and having something where you can see each other in a Zoom kind of meeting versus physically being together in a space. And I think that's something that everyone's kind of really learned coming out of COVID is, what is real to us and how does that impact us versus these other formats that we've kind of gotten used to. And, things like AI are now a new format of things to get used to, but there's something so different comparing that to a human experience, to a human in-person experience, which I never want to get rid of. That's for sure. We'll see where I go.
And I've seen not explosion, but a growth in peer groups and stuff like that
Mhm.
again, which were
Yeah.
big before COVID. Then they fell short again, but now we're seeing this resurgence.
Mhm.
People are going, oh yeah, I need connection.
Other people.
And guess what? AI currently can't do that.
Mhm. We'll see where it goes.
We'll see. I have a different philosophical standpoint, but that's a whole nother.
We'll get there next time.
Yes.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today, Mike. And we'll send over a link to your article too for folks that are listening in.
Beautiful. Thank you. Have yourself a great day.
Yeah, thank you, Mike.